Hello and welcome to WCMU's Quiz Central. Our teams tonight are Bay City John Glenn and Midland Dow. The action begins right after this.
Support for Quiz Central is provided by the CMU Bookstore. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, maroon and gold memories, and an official outfitter of Adidas apparel at the Central Michigan University owned and operated CMU Bookstore. Online shopping 7 days a week at cmubookstore.com, on campus at the University Center, and game day locations at Kelly Short Stadium and the John G. Kulhalvi Event Center.
Good luck to both of our teams. Let's play Quiz Central.
Chopin.
Correct. All right, your next toss-up.
The lottery.
Right.
The Stranger.
You are correct. Traverse City Central hangs on. They are our season champions. Hi there, and thanks for tuning in to Quiz Central. I'm your host, Steve Smith. With us tonight, the teams from Bay City John Glenn and Midland Dow. They're two of 48 teams competing again this season. The Quiz Central teams are divided into 4 divisions based on school size. Each division will have a champion, and one of those teams will become this season's overall winner. They're vying for scholarships from Central Michigan University, and Rick Westover has more on that.
The 4 starters and 3 alternates of the division championship teams will each receive a 2-year, $4,000 room and board scholarship from Central Michigan University Residence Life. In addition, 4 lucky Quiz Central seniors will receive textbook scholarships from the CMU Bookstore. And a special thanks to CMU Enrollment and Student Services, which provides lunch for our contestants and their traveling party.
And with all of that at stake, let's jump right into the Maroon and Gold round. The Maroon and Gold round is a 2-minute timed round. It gives you a chance to answer as many questions as possible. If the team ringing in misses the question, the opposing team will have a chance to respond. There's no talking among team members, and correct answers are worth 10 points. Good luck to both of our teams. Here is your first question. What poem dedicated to Carl Solomon begins, "I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness," and was written by Allen Ginsberg? Next question. The unfinished novel The Pale King was posthumously published after the suicide of what American author of the novel Infinite Jest? Your next question of the game. What 1973 Supreme Court decision, in which Harry Blackmun set out a trimester framework, controversially disallowed many restrictions on abortion? Ashwin, Midland Dow.
Roe v. Wade.
That's correct. What residence in Pennsylvania was designed for the Kaufman family by Frank Lloyd Wright and was built over a small stream? Ashwin, Midland Dow.
Falling water.
That is correct. Your next question. What word, which is an adjective, denotes the 4 main directions on a compass, also is used? Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn.
Cardinal.
That's right. For centuries, the only Chinese city open to Western trade was what metropolis on the Pearl River? Ashwin, Midland Dow.
Hong Kong.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. I will finish the question. It was located on the Pearl River. It was once called Canton, Bay City, John Glenn.
Beijing.
I'm sorry?
Beijing.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect, but we will get you an answer in just a minute there. What trigonometric function whose namesake law has an ambiguous case is the reciprocal of cosecant and can be defined as opposite over hypotenuse? Ashwin, Midland Dow.
Sine.
That's right. What sculptor of the Burghers of Calais included bronze works such as the Kiss and the Thinker in his sculpture series, The Gates of Hell? We'll move along. Go ahead, Lillian, Midland Dow.
Michelangelo.
Nope, sorry. Bay City, John Glenn. Nope. The answer there would have been Auguste Rodin. So there we get through the first round. Midland Dow with a 30-point to 10-point lead over Bay City John Glenn. And let's go back and visit some of those questions that we missed. The metropolis on the Pearl River is Guangzhou. The American author was David Foster Wallace, and the poem by Allen Ginsberg was Howl. So that takes us to opportunity to get to know our contestants just a little bit better. Hello, Hannah.
Hi, I'm Hannah Benford. I'm from John Glenn, Bay City. I'm a junior, and I play varsity golf, and I also play varsity tennis.
Hello, I'm Anthony Oswald, and I am a senior at John Glenn High School, and I am a Chief Science Officer, and I'm also on the JV golf team.
Hi, I'm Cassidy Bachman. I'm a senior at John Glenn High School. I'm a member of HOSA, and I also play varsity soccer and volleyball.
Hi, I'm Taylor Eldred. I'm a junior at John Glenn, and I'm a member of the National Art Honor Society.
All right, it's nice to have you here. Sean Mason is their coach. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. And now to the team from Midland Dow. Anish?
Hi, my name is Anish Midha. I'm a senior at Dow High School, and I enjoy Bollywood movies and playing the sitar.
I'm Lillian Presnell Manso. I enjoy performing rock music in a band, and I play varsity golf and tennis.
Hi, I'm Ashwin Saxena. I'm a senior at Dow High, and I do MUN and robotics.
Hi, my name's Carter Newcomb. I'm a junior at Dow High, and I enjoy writing and philosophy.
All right, always nice to have you here. Their alternate is Tate Clerk, and the team's coach is Amy Bushy. A nice round of applause for them. And with that, the action continues with the kickoff round. The kickoff round is a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up question will be asked one bonus, then we go back to a toss-up for both teams. Toss-up questions need an individual response, but team members can consult on the bonus. Captains, remember that the answers must come from you on the bonuses unless you defer to a colleague. Here is your first toss-up question. What long-running show, whose villains include the partly mechanical Cyberman, depicts an alien from Gallifrey who time travels in the TARDIS? Ashwin, Midland Dow.
Doctor Who.
That is correct, and here is your first bonus of the game. What man's company published the anti-Semitic Dearborn Independent newspaper, introduced the $5 a day wage, and sold the Model T car?
Henry Ford.
That's correct. All right, back to both teams with a toss-up. What band's lineup included Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks? Lillian, Midland Dow.
Fleetwood Mac.
That's right. All right, here's another bonus for Midland Dow. What leader was ousted as president of Sudan in 2019 due to protests about corruption and economic issues? No answer?
No answer.
The answer is Omar al-Bashir. Your next toss-up question. What poetic form, Introduction to English, by Thomas Wyatt, was used to address the fair youth in a collection of 154 poems written by William Shakespeare? Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn.
Sonnets.
That's right, and a bonus for Bay City, John Glenn. What anthropologist, whose fieldwork was criticized by Derek Freeman, analyzed the behavior of inhabitants of Tau Island in Coming of Age in Samoa?
Freud.
Nope, sorry, Margaret Mead. Back to both teams. Congressman John Lewis once chaired what civil rights committee whose collegiate members helped organize sit-ins and the 1963 March on Washington? Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn.
The SCLC.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. How about Midland Dow? Ashwin?
The NAACP.
Nope, sorry, both wrong. It was SNCC, SNCC, which stands for Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. But a toss-up for both teams. Salad dressings are examples of what kind of mixture that does not have a uniform composition? Taylor, Bay City, John Glenn.
Heterogeneous.
You are right, and here's your bonus. Sanford Dole imposed the Bayonet Constitution on what future U.S. state, which was once a kingdom led by such rulers as Kamehameha?
Hawaii.
That's correct. All right, back to both teams. In 2018, what commodities drop in price from $20,000 to under $4,000 led to the bankruptcy of Gigawatt and other tech companies trying to mine it? And the answer is, sorry, you came in just a little late, it was Bitcoin. Another toss-up. What type of program popularized in the 1980s by Lotus 123 displays data in a grid with formulas and is exemplified by Microsoft Excel? Carter, Midland Dow.
Microsoft Excel.
Yep, you were, oh, nope, I'm sorry, that is not correct. Bay City, John Glenn.
Spreadsheet.
Cassidy, you are correct, and a bonus for you. What novel in which a brand in the shape of a fleur-de-lis identifies Milady de Winter as the former wife of Athos was written by Alexander Dumas?
No answer.
Okay, Three Musketeers. Another toss-up question. What man preceded David as the first king of a united Israel? And that person would be Saul. And that is the end of our round. All right, Midland Dow 60, Bay City John Glenn 50. We have a close one here. So we're going to take a quick break and regroup. And when we come back, we'll see if either team can score a perfect 10. So don't go away.
I took astronomy from Carl Sagan in 1977. The guy had a huge influence on me. Cosmos on PBS was Carl Sagan's lectures with fabulous graphics.
Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
PBS and I are a perfect match. It's just wonderful programming, not just for kids, but for all of us.
Carry on.
Don't you people have school to work on?
Today, children have more ways to learn and grow than ever before. But in rural areas of our country, millions don't have access to high-speed internet. For these families, television is often their only source of educational programming. The new PBS Kids 24/7 channel is available for those who need it most, providing content that's proven to build important skills for every child.
Welcome back to Quiz Central and the Perfect 10 round. The Perfect 10 gives you 60 seconds to answer 10 questions from your choice of clues to 3 categories. The opposing team gets 30 seconds to tackle all unasked, missed, or passed questions. Midland Dow, you have the lead, so Bay City John Glenn, you'll be going first. Today's clues to the categories are Where Did You Find That?, Colorful Places, and America the Beautiful. Where did you find that? Colorful Places and America the Beautiful. Which one will it be?
Colorful places.
Colorful places, all right. And the actual category is colorful geography. Identify these locations whose names contain colors. Body of water whose ports include Sevastopol.
The Red Sea.
Nope. Danish island whose capital is Nuuk.
No answer.
Open air amphitheater west of Denver, Colorado.
No answer.
First national park in the U.S.
Yellowstone.
Correct. Branch of the Nile that originates in Lake Tana.
Defer to Hannah.
Red Sea.
Nope, sorry. Former name of Ghana while a British colony.
No answer.
Dense forest southwest of Germany.
No answer.
Okay. California county that contains Anaheim and Irvine.
Orange County.
Correct. Large marine sinkhole off the coast of Belize.
No answer.
All right, and the last one, capital of the Yukon Territory. We're out of time. All right, lots of choices here, Midland Dow. 30 seconds on the clock. Identify these locations whose name contains colors. Body of water whose ports include Sevastopol.
Black Sea.
Correct. Danish island whose capital is Nuuk.
No answer.
Open air amphitheater west of Denver, Colorado.
Red Rock.
Yup. Branch of the Nile that originates in Lake Tana.
No answer.
Former name of Ghana while a British colony.
No answer.
Dense forest to southwest Germany.
Black Forest.
Correct. Large marine sinkhole off the coast of Belize.
No answer.
And capital of the Yukon Territory. We won't get to that, but the answer is Whitehorse. Okay, the other questions that we did not get correct there. Danish island whose capital is Nuuk would be Greenland. The branch of the Nile is the Blue Nile. Former name of Ghana, Gold Coast. And the large marine sinkhole off the coast of Belize would be the Great Blue Hole. All right, we have 2 categories left now, and those are Where Did You Find That? And America the Beautiful. Midland Dow, it is your choice.
Where did you find it?
Where did you find it? Okay, historical resources is the actual category. Name the commodities that were predominantly produced at these sites. The mines in Potosi, Bolivia.
Coal.
Nope. Plantations where cane was harvested in the Caribbean.
Cotton.
No. Fordlandia in the Amazon rainforest.
Rubber.
Yup. The Klondike during the 1890s.
Coal.
Nope. Southern plantations where Eli Whitney's gin was used.
Cotton.
Yep. The farm of Carlos Leoncio Magalhães, a Brazilian king of this crop.
Tobacco.
Nope. John Rawls plantation near Jamestown.
Cotton.
Nope. Newcastle, where its export was controlled by the hostman.
Gold.
Nope. Farms where Native Americans planted it along with squash and beans.
Corn.
Yep. And the mines that gave Cyprus its name.
Gold.
Nope. Just under the buzzer. All right, 30 seconds on the clock. Over to Bay City, John Glenn. A reminder, we want you to name the commodities that were predominantly produced at these sites. The mines in Potosi, Bolivia.
Iron.
Nope. Plantation where cane was harvested in the Caribbean.
No answer.
The Klondike during the 1890s.
Gold.
Yes. The farm of Carlos Leoncio Magalhães, a Brazilian king of this crop.
Defer to Hannah.
Indigo.
Nope, sorry. John Rawls plantation near Jamestown.
Tobacco.
Yup. Newcastle, where its export was controlled by the hostman.
No answer.
All right, and finally, the mines that gave Cyprus its name, we won't get to it, but copper was actually the product there. So let's go back to the top. The mines in Potosi were silver, plantation where cane was harvested, sugar. The farm of Carlos Leoncio Magalhães, I was hoping somebody'd get that right so I didn't have to say that name over and over, but the crop was coffee, and Newcastle, where its export was controlled by the hostman, and that was coal. So there we go through the home stretch round. Midland Dow still with a 30-point lead, 120-90, and that takes us right into the home stretch round. Like round two, this segment features a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. I'll ask a toss-up. The team that answers correctly will be asked a bonus. Then we go back to a toss-up question for both teams. Your first toss-up question. Uranium and plutonium are members of what group of elements with partially filled 5F electron shells? Tony, Bay City, John Glenn.
The intertransitional metals.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. How about Midland Dow?
The lanthanides.
Anesh? I'm sorry?
Lanthanides.
Say that again?
Lanthanides.
Nope, I'm sorry, actinides. You were close. All right, another toss-up. 21 merit badges and a service project are required to attain what? Lillian, Midland Dow.
Eagle Scout.
You are right. And here is your bonus. What letter names both a statistical programming language conceived by Ross Ihaka and Robert Gentleman and an MPAA film rating stricter than PG-13?
C.
Nope, sorry, incorrect. It was R. All right, here is your next toss-up question. The Joey menu is intended for children at what restaurant chain whose menu features Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn?
Outback.
You are right, and here is your bonus. What ethnic group makes up militant nationalist groups and is found in Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Turkey?
Defer to Anthony.
Muslims.
Nope, I'm sorry, Kurds. All right, next question. During what 1973 event did Attorney General Elliot Richardson resign after being asked by Richard Nixon to fire Watergate? Ashwin, Midland Dow?
Watergate.
Nope, I'm sorry. I'll finish it. He asked Richard Nixon to fire Watergate prosecutor Archibald Cox. Do you know the name of the event? Bay City, John Glenn.
No answer.
No answer. Saturday Night Massacre. Another toss-up question. The People's Will assassinated what Russian czar who crushed the January uprising in Poland, sold Alaska to the U.S., and freed the serfs in 1861? Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn?
Seward.
Nope, I'm sorry. Midland Dow. Anish?
Alexander.
Be more specific?
Great.
Nope, I'm sorry. Alexander II of Russia. All right, you're coming close, keep trying. All right, another toss-up question. The autobiography of Alice B. Toklas is actually by what American author whose poetry includes the line, "Rose is a rose is a rose"? The answer, Gertrude Stein. Another toss-up. Moving objects may feel what fictitious force named for a Frenchman which causes cyclones, but not toilet water, to spin clockwise in Australia? Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn?
Inertia.
Nope, sorry, incorrect. Midland Dow. Ashwin?
Centrifugal force.
Nope, Coriolis. All right, another toss-up. What state is home to White Sands National Monument and Carlsbad Caverns? Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn?
New Mexico.
That's right, and a bonus. Corvus Glaive serves what character who is seen adopting a young Gamora and obtaining 6 stones for a powerful gauntlet in Avengers: Affinity War?
Defer to Anthony.
Thanos.
That's correct. All right, but man, that takes us to the end of the round. Okay, we have a close one. It's a 10-point game. Midland Dow 130 and Bay City John Glenn 120. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll decide this game with the final countdown, so don't go away.
Our great state of Michigan is truly one of a kind. From the city streets to the small towns, you can see it all right here on Destination Michigan. We'll crisscross the state in search of the sights, the sounds, and of course the people that make Michigan the greatest state in the land. Take in the scenery, meet the people, and experience the wonder of the Great Lakes State. Come along with us as we share your stories on Destination Michigan.
Unlock your newest member benefit. Over 1,000 episodes of your favorite PBS shows. American Masters, Antiques Roadshow, Nature, Nova, Masterpiece. Watch the best of PBS anytime, anywhere. Become a member, sign in, and start streaming today.
Welcome back to the final countdown. Both teams have come out swinging. We have a 10-point game. The final countdown is another 2-minute rapid-fire round. The first player to ring in gets a shot at answering the question. If you get it wrong, we turn to the opposing team for a chance to answer. This should be an exciting one. Good luck to both teams. Here you go. Earth's formation may have been aided by rocks being pushed into Earth's orbit by what stream of charged particles emitted from the sun's corona? Your next question. What poem whose speaker reflects that choosing an option that was grassy and wanted wear has made all the difference? Cassidy, Bay City, John Glenn.
The road at the Trail of Two Paths.
Nope, sorry, incorrect. Midland Dow, Ashwin.
The road not taken.
That is correct. What artist of Penn's treaty with the Indians depicted a British commander's last moments at the 1759 Battle of Quebec in the death of General Wolfe? Your next question. What structure is where Anne Boleyn was beheaded and where the crown jewels are kept? Tony, Bay City, John Glenn.
London Tower.
You are correct. All right, next question. In 2019, Scott Warren was charged with felony over his volunteer work with what organization that provides water and aid to undocumented immigrants? Carter, Midland Dow.
The Red Cross?
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. How about Bay City, John Glenn?
The World Health Organization.
Nope, I'm sorry. We'll find out in just a minute. What NBA team, whose president was Phil Jackson from 2014 to 2017, plays at Madison Square Gardens? Anish, Midland Dow.
New York Knicks.
That's correct. How many ATP are generated during the conversion of a molecule of pyruvate into a molecule? Anish, Midland Dow.
3.
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. I'll finish it. It would be converting a molecule of pyruvate into a molecule of lactic acid in fermentation. Bay City, John Glenn, do you have an answer? Tony?
Is it 32?
Nope, I'm sorry, incorrect. What poet described, and that will take us to the end of our round. Well, that was an exciting one, but Midland Dow, you hang on to win with a score of 150 to 130. Congratulations and a nice round of applause. We like those close games. The questions that were missed here, the how many ATP are generated, that would be 0. Scott Warren was charged with a felony over his volunteer work with an organization called No More Deaths. Let's see here. The artist of Penn's treaty with the Indians was Benjamin West, and a stream of charged particles would have been called the solar wind. But again, a very good game, two nicely matched teams. Let's give them both a nice round of applause. And that does it for this exciting edition of Quiz Central. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, you can like us on Facebook or watch your favorite game online as we feature the best and brightest high school students from around the state. Thanks for watching.
Support for Quiz Central is provided by the CMU Bookstore. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, maroon and gold memories, and an official outfitter of Adidas apparel at the Central Michigan University owned and operated CMU Bookstore. Online shopping 7 days a week at cmubookstore.com, on campus at the University Center, and game day locations at Kelly Short Stadium and the John G. Kulhalvi Event Center.